What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along. Today's guest needs no introduction. His new album, We Get By, is out August 31st on Modern Sky. I am, of course, joined by Jamie Webster. Jamie, how are you, fella?
I'm good. Nice one for having me.
Always a
Always a
pleasure, mate.
pleasure.
Absolutely looking
Yeah.
forward to this interview. It's been a crazy. First of all, how are you getting on in the lockdown the way the world is now?
All right. Like most people, trying to get fit. Like I think bike sales are through the roof, in every country at the minute. Be getting out on my bike, doing a bit of running, bit of exercise in the garden, eating a bit better, and also a bit of writing as well. Upstairs, I've learned to record a little bit myself on the Al Garage Band and try and write some new material. But yeah, I'm all good. Looking forward to the album coming out, like you say. So I've also had my hands tied with that, really. I didn't realise there was more goes into doing an album than just fucking playing the songs and recording them in the studio, you know what I mean? There's so much more going into it. So I've just been sort of wrapped up in that as well. But, I'm trying my best to enjoy myself as much as I can. Thankfully, the sun's shining, so it helps you a little bit, doesn't it?
Right, I want to get on to talk about the album now, but first of all, I want to give the people a bit of a flavour of Jamie Webster. So, what's your earliest musical memory, and when did you first pick up the guitar?
Um, me, my first musical memories probably listening to me mum and dad's records, you know what I mean, in the cars and stuff like that as a kid. Yeah, my mum was like a massive Bowie fan. My dad loved Rat Pack, really, Sinatra, and they both loved the Squeeze, do you know what I mean? So they're like my early memories of music. And then, yeah, I remember like all the, when I was a kid, it was like, a little kid, it was like all Steps, S Club 7 and all that sort of stuff on the telly. And then obviously but wasn't really something that I was into. That's just something I really remembered. Like, they're
Don't
the
lie,
songs.
don't lie, mate. If you're into a bit of S Club 7, it's alright. Happens to the best of us.
I think there's a cover of me doing Tragedy somewhere on YouTube. But like I say, those are my sort of early memories of it. But I wasn't really. I remember I used to love singing in school. You know what I mean? Like I used to love when we do assemblies and all that. I used to like try and sing the loudest and all that shit. And I don't know. I've always been, I suppose, musical in that sense. But picked up my guitar. It was my mum actually who wanted me to learn an instrument when I was a kid because she tried to teach herself, but like never really. She taught herself a couple of chords, but never followed it up. And she said it was one of her biggest regrets, not like going ahead and learning the instruments. So she always wanted their kids to learn instruments, and I thought that was a fucking terrible idea, to be honest, because I just wanted to play football. That's all I wanted to do as a kid. But like, she used to say actually, you'll thank me when you're older, and like, yeah, I do, like, you know what I mean. But I think it must have been about 8, and she got me a guitar, and I had a couple of lessons, but I was never interested. I never got any better until like I think I stopped the lessons when I went to senior school, and then when I was about 14, I like Oasis and all that just like started to really take hold of me, and that's when I really picked up the guitar. I'd say for the first time properly, and started to teach myself chords. And Oasis and the Beatles just sort of like led me into like all the wide range of music I listen to today. Do you know what I mean? But that was my sort of intro to it.
Mammy's always know best, and you touched on Oasis there, and it kind of leads me to my next question: is who are your musical influence, I suppose, now, and when you started?
Well, when I started, it was like I say, it was Oasis. Like Noel, I used to be a Noel Gallagher fan more so than Liam, and then like of late, I think Noel's turned into just a bit opinionated in here. You know what I mean? And like, but in the wrong way, I think. And I think Liam just doesn't give a fuck. I think he's just himself. So I've swayed more towards Liam, but it was like Oasis, like I say, early Kings of Leon stuff. I was into that. Red Hot Chili Peppers for one time. But like the fella who's always been my biggest influence is Bob Dylan. Just massively resonated with me. His lyrics are what I look for mostly in a song. I always like to hear what the song's got to say and what story it tells, and I think no one does it better than Bob Dylan. He's just like the stories are all real life stories. Do you know what I mean? And he just tells them in such a way that like you can't help but resonate with them. And like I said, I think one of the best things that like I heard Bob Dylan say, it was like, I've only got 3 chords in the truth. And I thought, like as a young 14, 15-year-old lad, I was like, that's cool as fuck. That like if he's got to where he is, just telling the truth and playing chords, you know, I might actually have a chance here. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, he's the one who sort of made me believe that it's possible to do it. You know what I mean?
I can absolutely see that influence because Bob Dylan's been somebody who gives great social commentary, and you can tell by the lyrics in your own songs that you're influenced in the same way. A lot of the songs that you talk about are about your experiences growing up, being a working class fella, scratching around for a few quid every now and again, and I think it fits perfectly. What's the creative process like, Jamie? And are there any places that you like to write in particular?
Well, I have a practice studio, like basically my own space, just outside the town. It's basically on the outskirts of the city centre, and like that's like me hub. Basically, got my piano in there, I've got all my guitars in there, and I just sort of lock myself away. And when I'm in there, I think I've written. There's a few songs on the album that I already had written from years ago, but I'd say the large part of the album has been written in that room. And once I get in the zone in there, you know, it just literally flows out to me. But the process is more like I tend to just fuck around on the guitar a bit, and I'll normally stumble across something that sounds quite nice or catchy, like chord progression wise, and then I'll build that from there. Then I'll sort of structure my melody, and the lyrics are something that can come to you at any time, really. I don't really have like an ethos for writing lyrics. It's just sort of when you sort of light your fire and you just go with it wherever you are. I've written lyrics in that room. I've written lyrics. I've actually Living for Yesterday. I finished the lyrics to that off when I was picking my bird up from work, and I was waiting outside in the car, and I had a little notepad, and the lyrics just started coming to me in my head, and I wrote them on my steering wheel, you know, like on a little piece of paper. And just when the time comes, you've just got to write them down or do it on your phone or whatever. I actually wrote the lyrics to, or got like structures for the lyrics to one of the songs in a cinema. Do you know what I mean? That song's called The Joker, and it's just like while I was watching the film, and like lines and things that they were getting at in the film, which I was like, that's a lyric. I'm just gonna, and I was building it like that. It was just that was flowing as I was watching the film. So it could be in any way really, but my main hub is my practice studio in town. And also, me and my girlfriend went to the Lake District once, and I had the idea of Weekend in Paradise in my head, but and maybe a couple of chords to it, but not the full finished article. Or all the lyrics. I just had this sort of catchy hook in my head of a pointless 3-day bender, and then we went to this, it's like a little log cabin sort of thing in the Lake District. We just went there for the weekend just to chill out, and I finished it in like a morning. I think I sat there one morning looking out, and it just writ. Do you know what I mean? So I just think you've just got to be in the right sort of frame of mind. I think you can't force it. I think once you try and force things, it just doesn't. It'll tell. But having said that, sometimes I went into finishing one song off, and because I was trying to force one song so much, I ended up coming up with a different song out of just like frustration. Do you know what I mean? It's just songwriting's like for me anyway, it's like the maddest fucking thing in the world. There's no like, I don't think there's any right formula. I just think if it works, it works. You know what I mean? And there's plenty of times where it doesn't work. Like the amount of songs I've thrown away, and no one's even got to hear. Do you know what I mean? No one's even got to sample them. I just know. It's something I'm always like, even if you're not actually sat down with a guitar or a piece of paper, you're always thinking. You know what I mean? There's always, you might think about a subject and think, oh, I'll write a song about that, and you might start to piece together lyrics in your head or piece together how you might want the song to sound. You know, it's something that, like, for me anyway, it's non-stop. Do you know what I mean? It's round the clock. But as I say, at the moment in time, it's been nice to just look after myself a little bit and just like deal with the album. I've got about 3 or 4 tunes sort of ready to work with on for album 2, but album 1's done now, and I'm just can't wait to get it out there. You know what I mean? It's been a long road getting it together, and a lot of art. You put a lot into it, so like once it's out there and people are listening to it and commenting, that's when I'm gonna feel like the benefits of it, I suppose.
You recorded the album in Park Street Studios, or actually Coldplay, The Verve, Paolo Nutini, and numerous other artists have recorded. What was it like recording in Park Street Studios?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing as a young musician in Liverpool. Like Park Street's the mecca of recording studios. Do you know what I mean? As far as you're concerned, it's like you hear, like all these artists you've said, you hear of all these people recording in there. And like when I used to be knocking about the music circuit years and years ago when I was 15, 16, you'd hear like bands like bands around my age were getting demos done in, sort of makeshift studios and stuff like that, whatever they could get together for the money. But every now and again there'd be a band who was signed to a label, or like a small, and he managed to get the demos done in Park Street or get a single done, and you could just tell the difference straight away. You knew that it was sounded like a record, you know what I mean? And so when I signed to me label, and they told me that they would prefer it if I recorded it in Park Street, because they work closely with a lot of engineers and producers from there, and that they were confident that they would bring out the best in me. I mean, it was like music to my ears. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, yes, sound, no problem. If that's what you want to do, that's what we want to do. And I had I suppose the luck of going into. I recorded in all of the rooms there, the big studio ways, like the main one that you see. But Coldplay done one of their albums in Studio B upstairs as well, and they've got like the place has just got an atmosphere to it. I mean, it's like the engineers and producers who work there are like on different levels to any that I've ever worked with before, or any ever known of before. And like I say, the equipment there and the sound you get, the atmosphere, the ambience out of the place, it's just special. You know what I mean? It's a proper like recording studio. It's one of the greats in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? I've spoke to like some of them producers have recorded all over the world, and these still rank Park Street up there with them. And yeah, to do me debut album there is, I always thought that if I was going to do an album in Park Street, it would always be like my third or fourth album when I'd managed to, to get to that point. Do you know what I mean? But lo and behold, like thankfully, my record label gave me the opportunity to do it, and I'm, for a debut album for me, I couldn't have pictured it sound, or couldn't have wanted it to sound any better than it does. It's just like it's been done properly, and it's out there forever. And I'm just, like I say, thankful that I got to do it in that environment.
We've been lucky enough to listen to 7 of the 12 songs that you've recorded on the album, and the quality shines through. As you said, the engineers did a magnificent job, you did a magnificent job. And I suppose the next question is, how long was the album in the making, Jamie? How long were you sitting on some of these songs?
Well, there's a couple of the songs that I've been sat on since I was like 19, 20, do you know what I mean? Like, and I'd only say a couple if I'm going down the track list. And now there's probably Change and Common People are songs that are the two songs that I wrote a long time ago, and they were actually nearly throwaways. And then I decided to like silent with these producers and with the bands and stuff like that, and just give the songs new direction, really. You know what I mean? And like a new kick. But I think going into my record deal, I think I had maybe 5 songs off the album that I'd written. Yet 6, I think, that I'd written. And then, so obviously the other 8, no, the other 6, sorry, my maths was bad there, wasn't it? The other 6 I've written in the, within the last year. I've been signed less than a year, so I think I went into the record deal having already written Weekends in Paradise, Living for Yesterday, and This Place quite recently. So those were 3 songs that like I think I've written within the last 2 years. But then, as I say, Common People and Change were songs that I'd written when I was probably about 19, 20, and it was when I was just, funny enough, like Common People was sort of written about the attitude that I, like the time of my life where I was going to the away games, like in full throttle everywhere, and I really fell into like part of a clique, and it felt like that we were out to forget about what we'd gone on through the week and just like let ourselves go every weekend. and common people sort of about that time in my life. Do you know what I mean? That was the current time in my life when I wrote it. And change was really when I started really opening my eyes to politics in the sense that, you know, see how wrong some of it is. And I was really developing that sort of mindset where I was making my own mind politically, you know what I mean? Where I knew that, for example, I'd rather stand on the left than I would on the right, do you know what I mean? And I wrote a song just like expressing my views of what I thought, and that was change. But then I kind of say, so the majority, even though I didn't know I was doing an album, I'd say bar them 2 songs, the majority of the album's been done within 18 months to 2 years, and half of it's been done within the last 8 months probably, do you know what I mean? One of the songs, I think the recording was done the day before the lockdown was announced, or the Friday before the lockdown was announced in the UK. That was the day I finished the album. And one of the songs is Out on the Streets. I wrote that like probably about a week before I recorded it. And it was just last minute. I wrote it and thought, I think this is too good to not put on the album. And like obviously, thankfully, I've worked with a great group of musicians who like they can put their hand to anything, you know what I mean, so quickly. It's like scary how good that they are. And there we were. They didn't even know it. 3 songs we walked in the studio to on that last day. Like only my part was done, me vocal and me acoustic, and the lads didn't even know. They'd never even heard the songs before. And we just went in the studio that day and I told them what I wanted them to do vaguely, and they just done it. And it was fucking amazing. I thought it was going to be like, I was sort of up against it because the budget was quite tight, and obviously I knew that lockdown was imminent. So I was worried that when am I going to be able to get back in and finish it if we fuck up one of the tunes. And thankfully the lads were right on the shit and just got exactly what I wanted from them. And obviously the producer and the engineers dragged it out of us as well. But yeah, it was funny enough. I'm the last person to date to record in Par State. That session to finish my album was after we finished that session. The shutters went down for the first time in God knows when, and they still haven't been opened up. No one's been in to record since.
Obviously, the album's going to come out in August, and one of the things that usually goes along with an album is a tour, and I know that you had one plan, but what I want to know is, I don't want to dwell on the negative here. You've been lucky enough to play in cities all around Europe and all around the world, and I want to know, outside of your home city of Liverpool, what have been some of your favourite cities that you play gigs in?
Well, Dublin's like straight off the bat. It's like the first time I think it was the first time I have, after Kiev obviously, but like Dublin was the first sort of gig that I'd done where it was like, my own sort of gig, headline, not part of an LFC event. It was sort of like a boss night out there, and the crowd were amazing from the straight off. But I remember the first time we done the Button Factory in Dublin, it was just mad. Like the atmosphere was great. That whole tour actually that we done last year was phenomenal. Really, the Irish love the Reds, and they love the music as well. And one thing for certain, they fucking love a pint as well. And like, it was just a great 4 days over there. Every show I felt like Liam Gallagher walking onto the stage and walking off the stage. You couldn't have made me feel more welcome. You couldn't have made me feel more appreciated. And like you say, you make it so much easier for you when you don't even have to sing the words half the time. You know what I mean? You just start. I'm literally say the first song is "We Love You Liverpool," and I literally sing Shankly, and we're away. That the rest of the crowd sing every fucking word along with you. So it's not like it's not like you're working. It's like you're enjoying a piss up with your mates sort of thing. You know what I mean? It was just, Ireland's always one that's a rowdy crowd. All it's to be expected on European aways. Do you know what I mean? Some of the places that we've done are amazing, but I think out of all of them, I think Munich was the best. I think there was a lot of German Reds there that day, and that was fucking shit hot. But in terms of my own music, London was a big surprise for me. When I done the recent mini tour in February, like London's somewhere that, I don't know, I suppose people in Liverpool feel like not always, but the completely disconnected with people from London and were so different and this, that, the other. And in some cases that might be true, but it didn't feel like that when I went down there to play. You know, like all the people were great. They knew the words to my songs in London, like songs that I hadn't released that they'd been looking on YouTube, and it was just a great surprise really, because I was expecting the gig to be a little bit like more like hard work. I was expecting it to be like you're really gonna have to really graft and, you know, like really show them who you are and demonstrate that, like, you know, really drag them along with you and gear them up to hold the crowd, because they won't know your songs. You're not playing any Liverpool songs to move it over. You really, you know, you're gonna have to really and you know what? It wasn't nothing like that hard. Obviously, I give it me everything like I always do, but the interaction was just there straight away with the crowd, and everyone was just, the vibe was amazing. I didn't expect it to go that smoothly for my first time in London. People always say, like, especially coming from like north, it's quite hard sometimes when you go down south and play, because it's, you know, maybe the culture's a little bit different or whatever, but not for me. I didn't find that. I found it was like amazing, but nothing will beat a home crowd. Like, nothing could beat a home crowd for me. You know, it's you just know. There's just something that you feel. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, it's there straight away. You don't even have to go out and see the crowd. It's just there. And a lot of people, I suppose, take it for granted, but something I'd never do. I'd never take like a Liverpool crowd for granted, because it's just fucking nuts. Do you know what I mean? Like, even my last gig in the Arts Club where I done my own stuff, like, it was just, they never ever fail to Scousers never ever fail to exceed themselves or like go one further. You know what I mean? You think you've seen it all, and then you do another gig in Liverpool and you just see something completely fucking nuts. Do you know what I mean? Like, seeing people fall out.
We've been lucky enough to see you on a couple of occasions, and you said there it never gets old, it never gets you. And one thing that I think a lot of people love about yourself, Jamie, is that I've seen you stand there for hours, picture after picture after picture. You've always got a smile on your face. You always have time for people that have come to see you. And sometimes people, when they get some success, that will go to their head. But often at times you meet people who you know are what we would call salt of the earth people. And it's always struck me about you is that there's a genuine appreciation there for the people to take the time to come to see your shows. It's not put on, it's not fake. As I said, I've stood back and seen you with kids, with ladies, with mates, whoever, just photo after photo after photo, always with a smile on your face and always happy to talk to the people that have come to see you.
Yeah, well, the up and down of it is, mate, without these people I wouldn't be able to do what I do. Do you know what I mean? These people, their support and like their liking of me enables me to travel the world and play these songs. It basically enables me to live my dream. Do you know what I mean? And you don't get anywhere without these people. You know, make no mistake. You can be the best singer in the fucking world or the best guitar player in the world, but no one wants to listen to you. Do you know what I mean? No one comes to listen to you. You're not gonna get anywhere. It's you know, like footballers, but like it or not, you know what I mean? They're nothing without their fans. You know, like, the fans are the ones who generate all the money for the football clubs, which enables the players to be paid such a high wage. Yeah, they're brilliant at what they fucking do, but, you know, if they don't realise why they're there, do you know what I mean? They're never going to be a fan favourite. It's like the same in Liverpool. You know, my favourite players aren't necessarily the players who score 40, 50 goals a season, or who, you know, wear fucking pink shiny boots and do 7-step overs and beat 8 men a game. You know, I don't care about it. For me, like, it resonates. Like, you know, like Sadio Mane when he got off the bus at the African Cup of Nations and he helped the waterman bring all the water in. You know, stuff like that. And you think he's the most senior fucking player in that team, that Senegal team, hands down. And yeah, he's the first one off the bus to help. You know what I mean? Like a working fella carry the water in, and it's like just stuff like that. You know, you never forget where you come from. You know what I mean? Like, I remember as a kid being every half term, every time I was off school, I'd go to Melwood and I'd wait for them fucking signatures. I'd watch the lads train and I'd wait for them signatures. Do you know what I mean? As Melwood was, luckily for me, Melwood was 15-minute walk from my house. Do you know what I mean? It was nothing. And all my half terms were spent outside, probably annoying the security guards, and just waiting for players to come out. And I knew not not every player would stop. Do you know what I mean? Like some of them would just drive straight past, and I knew. So you understand how it feels when you get let down. Like asking, you're waiting for your favourite player all day, and he just drives away in the car. And then likewise, you knew how much it meant to you when Steven Gerrard would stop in his car and take the time and speak to everybody and sign for photos and all that. And I would never, like, especially with the little kids as well. Do you know what I mean? Like someone's coming over to tell me how much they enjoy what I do. Like what sort of a person would I be if I were to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy now." Do you know what I mean? I've always got when I can. Obviously, there's sometimes where I'm literally on a schedule and I've got to go from one place to the other, and I literally don't have time to stop and chat. But if I've got time, hand on heart, I will always give you time. Do you know what I mean? It's not about me being this thing. It's about me being a person, and that person in front of me being a person. You treat people in the right way. You treat people as you'd want to get treated yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, those kids, those women, those men who were asking me for photos, like for me to say no to them and just walk away with a bit of an attitude on me, I know how bad they feel, and also how let down they feel. You know, like by the whole thing, like the amount of times that you'd ask like certain players. I'm not going to name drop some of these players because I've actually met them since. Do you know what I mean? And we've worked together and stuff like that. But you'd ask some of your 11-year-old kid stood outside Millwood. Your favourite player was probably whoever scored that weekend. Do you know what I mean? And whoever scored the most goals that weekend. And so you're waiting for that player, and there he is. He's driving out in his car. He's your favourite player, and then all of a sudden he just drives past and just fucking ignores that you know what I mean? Like you don't even exist. And you remember how that feels? Like, so I would never ever, like, anyone wants to come over and, like I say, tell me that they think I'm doing a good job. They're only being nice, aren't they? There's no reason for you to not engage with them. It's different if someone comes over to tell you they think you're a bellend or they think what you do is shite. And that's happened a couple of times in town in the past with people who
Obviously Blues, obviously.
You know what? Even like further afield, sometimes you get people who support different teams and who don't get it, and that's up to them. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to win over these people who don't like me. I'm just here as I am, and if you like what I do, that's great. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? There's other things in life. Do you know what I mean? So
true. Bit of a fun one to finish up with before we let you go, Jamie. If you could support or have any artist support you on your next tour, who would it be and why?
Oh, if I could support any artist at the minute, I think it'd be like in terms of like upcoming. I'll give you a couple of little answers here. DMAs at the minute because I think their movement is brilliant.
My channel partner will be doing somersaults now. He absolutely loves DMAs. Absolutely loves it. I'd be delighted with that.
Yeah, even though the lead singer's an Evertonian, his dad's a Scouser, and he's an Evertonian. They're the singer from DMAs. He might be a bit more let down when he's heard that, if he didn't already know. But like DMAs are amazing. Like I think for me, like to be able to support someone like that, I think it'd benefit me in so many ways. I think to have support in me, I wouldn't like to disrespect anyone like that. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know, someone who I think I'd like to support be Bob Dylan. You know what I mean? Just to get the chance to meet him, that would be like, you know what I mean? But I also think maybe not supporting him, but like maybe like a Webster Neil Young sort of duo where like he does a sort of chilled out set, and I'll do a bit more of a upbeat set, and then you know what I mean. And then we can see who goes back on. Don't know, just fucking dreaming really, innit? You know what I mean? I've never really. It's a good question that though. I've never really been asked that. Yeah, I'd love to support the DMAs, I think, at the moment. And Bob Dylan is my all-time favourite who I'd love to support. So I suppose you could say, yeah, I'd love to have Bob Dylan support me because imagine that. Do you know what I mean?
I want to say a little thanks, by the way, as well for introducing me to Gerry Cinnamon, because at one of your gigs you played Belter and it was the first time I'd ever heard one of Gerry Cinnamon's songs as well. And ever since I've been listening, and I can see why you liked it and why you played the song. Is it a song you enjoy playing?
Yeah, I mean, well, Gerry was amazing. He was a massive influence of mine, building up to everything really. Like I seen him a while back, and he released a song called "Hope Over Fear" in 2015 about the Scottish independence, and he's just basically giving it to the Tories. Then that just woke me up to him, and since then I listened to his album. Like I think One Man and the Guitar, the noise he gets out of it is absolutely unreal. But I played him a lot at my gigs, and it's great to get the crowd going with his songs. Fortunately, when I released Weekend in Paradise, he expressed his disliking towards it to my manager, and basically sort of said I was trying to rip him off. So now,
I don't know about that. That's a belter of a
said.
song, to be fair. Weekend in Paradise, and I was listening to it before we started the interview. I'm not gonna lie, it's had my toe tapping as it's heading for 1 million Spotify plays as well, mate. That's doing quite well for you.
I know. Like I say, it was more of a tribute to him than anything else, sort of like to show his influence on me. Like I just think it's an on the beat kick drum. It's used in so many different like styles of music, but unfortunately, he felt that it was too close to home, and he doesn't actually. I don't think he's my biggest fan. So unfortunately, when you hear these sort of things, you tend to stop playing them in your gigs. So I haven't played too many Gerry Cinnamon songs of late. But, I can't deny how good he is, and what he's doing is absolutely brilliant. He's like, for no label, and to be releasing that shit on your own, like, and doing the gigs that he's doing, it's like, you can't do nothing. You can't do anything but respect it. But unfortunately, in terms of a person, I've sort of lost a little bit of love for Gerry now.
Well, all of us Liverpool fans may have nothing but love for you, and we're so excited to hear. And as I said, ladies and gents, that new album We Get By is coming out on August 21st on Modern Sky. Jamie Webster, thank you so much, mate, for taking the time out of your day. I can imagine, even in the lockdown, how busy you are. It's been a real pleasure catching up with you again, and I've no doubt that We Get By is going to be a massive success and the first of many to come.
No, thanks very much, mate. Listen, nice one for having me on. I don't half appreciate it.
Mate, we're always here. Like, you spoke about Liverpool fans earlier on. You spoke about them believing in players that put the graft in, and we've all seen that in you, mate. You're an honest, down to earth, working class fella, and we. I'm not a Scouser, but I'm Irish. It's close enough. I call myself an honorary Scouser, and we look after our own fella. And you know what? There's nothing but love for you out there, and it's great that outside of this Liverpool fan base, now the rest of the world is going to get to see what we've got to see for God knows how long this journey's been going on for. I can remember going back in 4 or 5 years since I've got to know Jamie Webster and heard his music, so I've no doubt you're gonna smash it, mate, and I look forward to when you get to go on tour again and we get to come and see you. So look after yourself, mate, for the rest of this crazy scenario that we're in, and again, thank you so much for giving up your time.
No, thank you very much, mate. I appreciate it. And so I say, enjoy the rest of the sunshine, enjoy your bank holiday, and anyone who's listening, watching, thank you very much for everything up to now.
Thank you, Jamie. Have a good one, mate. Take care.
Mate.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.